Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, you guessed it, I'm camping again, no surprise there. It's an absolutely gorgeous morning out, and I really mean it today. I mean, it's nice and cool, I've got to have a hoodie on and a coat, and it's just beautiful out. I mean, there's a little bit of fog behind me, a little bit of mist. The temperatures are in a spot where I'm not going to be sweating my butt off while I'm walking. And the leaves are changing. It's a really, really nice fall morning out. So come along with me on my morning walk here and, well, we'll talk about the news. Now, for full transparency on this one, I'm going to have to lower the resolution of this video and also keep it a little bit shorter because my connection is not good. If I crank the resolution, if I crank the frame rate, and if I made a very long video, well, good luck for it ever to upload on time. So first up, we're talking about Baldur's Gate 3, and this is huge for game modding, at least in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion. I mean, a lot of people's opinions. So if you take a look here, this is from the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, and they're taking a look at modding and how impactful it's been to their game. So their tweet says here, mods have been available on console and Mac for less than a week, and you're already smashing records. Thank you to the mod authors who have been bringing their creations to life with the BG3 toolkit, and thank you to all the players now causing chaos in Farron. And if you take a look at the numbers, 22 million mods have been downloaded in 1 week. And the rest of the numbers here are very impressive. Over 1.7 million mods downloaded in the first 24 hours of console launch. Over 2,000 mods uploaded with the toolkit. 768 mod authors are creating mods. And there's over 40% of all current players now embracing utter chaos with mods. 40% of the Baldur's Gate 3 player base are using mods. Now, I find it very interesting that companies like Nintendo are so vigilant against modding, or at least they appear to be very vigilant against modding. And then you look at a game like Baldur's Gate 3 here, where they're celebrating modding's success. And the sheer popularity of it is probably going to propel this game even forward in terms of sales and user base and basically everything. I mean, if you take a look at a game like Skyrim, one of the big reasons that game is so popular is because of modding, and the game's also awesome. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of game modding. I'm a huge fan of seeing this celebrated, and I'm a huge fan of seeing this massive success. I mean, I think this is great for game modding in general, for Nexus mods, and for everybody who's interested in modding. It just brings a whole nother level to games and a whole bunch of replayability and a whole bunch of fun. I mean, if I can't mod a game, I'm less interested in replaying it. If I can mod it, well, I'll be playing that game for a long time. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. And speaking about modding and Nintendo, next up we're talking about modded Pokemon, which is Palworld. Anyways, here, that was just a joke. Don't use this in the lawsuit Nintendo against Palworld. We're talking about Palworld and its console launch. Now, Palworld recently launched on the PS5, but they didn't launch in Japan. And it turns out that Palworld has just launched in Japan on console. And this is all in the middle of a lawsuit against Nintendo that I think is taking place in Japan. So the running theory right now is that Palworld was holding off launching in Japan on PS5 because of that legal case. And now the running theory is they think they've got a very strong legal case and they're not worried about it, so they've launched in Japan. Japan is, I don't want to say notorious for copyright laws and all of that stuff, but at the same time here, I've heard a lot of rumors about all of that whole scene. I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. It's just my opinion on basically what the whole situation is based on what I've read. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I do read the comments, and there are some very smart people who comment things that really change my mind sometimes, and also provide additional information, additional context, and some people do have inside information. Anyways, here, let me know your thoughts about this one. Do you think Palworld stands a chance against Nintendo? Do you think Nintendo's going to beat Palworld? And do you think releasing Palworld on PS5 consoles in Japan was delayed as part of some strategic goal here, or was it the plan all along? Or all of this is completely irrelevant from the lawsuit that's currently taking place? Let me know your thoughts. Next up here, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Sudachi. And I apologize for the audio if it's starting to get a little bit bad. This little DJI mic is doing a really good job. But anyways, you've got to see this view. Here is my current view. I'm not joking with you here. There's going to be no cuts. This is what I'm looking at. Absolutely gorgeous morning. I'm telling you, if you don't get outside very much, try to, or at least maybe stick to my YouTube channel here where I take you on these gorgeous morning hikes. So anyways, here Sudachi is back and as strong as ever. As far as I know, Antique hasn't let up coding this thing and is actually trying to bring it to more platforms, including Linux. Yes, Sudachi is now available on Linux. We'll get away from the water a little bit though here, because there are some people coming in. Well, they don't need to hear me talking about the news while they're trying to enjoy the beautiful scenery. Anyways, with Sudachi, my understanding is that Antique plans on making it available for basically everything. Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how long this one lasts. But Nintendo did take down Sudachi's previous GitHub code, and well, Sudachi rose from the but Sudachi rose from the ashes and continues on. Let me know your thoughts about Sudachi. Next up, we're talking about The Simpsons Tapped Out. Now, The Simpsons Tapped Out is a mobile game for Android and iOS, and on Android alone on the Google Play Store, it's got over 10 million downloads. It seems to be very popular. I'm not a big fan of free-to-play games, but people who have spent money in the game kind of are tied to those games, and they're not happy when they're shut down and no longer playable. And EA has announced that this game is no longer going to be playable. We talked about that in a previous video. Anyways, here it seems people are getting together and signing a petition to try to keep the game alive. So the petition is up over on change.org, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. In fact, everything I talk about in all of my videos, the link will be in the description below. My news is 100% open source. I do not hide my sources, unless someone sends me something and asks me to hide their name or something like that. Anyways, here there's 16,000 signatures. It doesn't seem like a whole lot. It's a lot, but not a lot at the same time. I don't think 16,000 signatures are going to be enough to breathe new life into this game. But if there can be a whole lot of them, and if this really blows up, EA might reconsider. I mean, 10,000 plus downloads over on the Google Play Store is quite a bit. That could be a whole lot of people voicing their opinions, unless people are just tired of the game and not playing it anymore. And speaking about being tired playing video games, next up here we're talking about a surgeon who used a PS5 controller to perform a surgery. I'm not joking with you here. So they went, I guess, from video games to surgery, and that was a pretty good transition. The surgery was successful. Anyways, I'm really glad to hear that they did not use that Logitech Submarine Bluetooth controller and are using a PS5 controller instead. Although if it did get stick drift during surgery, that might be a bit of a problem. Now, for full transparency, again, I do not have a whole lot of signal here, so I'm doing my best to gather the news and read as much as possible and learn as much as possible before I even talk to you. Now, some people are saying that it was a DualSense controller. Some people are saying that it was a Move controller. And at this point in time, whether it's Move controller or a DualSense controller, using a game controller for surgery, I think is pretty cool, provided that game controller is good and reliable. And I think reliability is going to be the biggest thing here. But let me know your thoughts about surgeries using game controllers in the comments below. And actually, that brings me to a really interesting question. If there was a surgery to be performed on you, which controller would you want the surgeon to use if they had to use one? I'm assuming not a lot of people are going to opt for that Logitech Bluetooth controller, but you know, who knows, maybe that's going to be the most popular one. Let me know your thoughts about that one. Next up, we're talking about the Internet Archive and Prince of Persia. So anyways, on Twitter or X, someone says, happy 35th anniversary to the original Apple II release of Prince of Persia. And the Internet Archive quoted that tweet, and here is their quote. It might be hard to find a physical copy of the original Apple II release of Prince of Persia, but we have it emulated in the browser and playable online. And they provide a link. Now, I don't know about you, but to me this is a big win for game preservation, and also a very interesting stance, a huge stance that the Internet Archive has taken to support game preservation and also to support the fact that games are playable in browsers. Next up, we're talking about that saying where there's smoke, there's fire, and we talked about this a little bit a while back when a minority shareholder was asking Ubisoft to go private. And that was because of share prices and unsuccessful games and a whole bunch of other things, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, here, it appears their voice has been heard. At least other people are looking at the situation now. And VGC is reporting, and I think they got this information from Bloomberg, Tencent and the Guillemot family are reportedly considering taking Ubisoft private. And this would be huge. This would have a ripple effect across the game industry for some of these big companies that aren't being so successful. Now, Ubisoft has lost something around 50% of its market value in the last year, which is huge. That is massive. And I'm wondering if this market loss was because of their games. Was it because of the game style? Was it because of actions that they've taken in the background? Who the heck knows? It's probably a combination of a whole bunch of stuff, possibly even poor leadership. I mean, you would argue that a company's success or failure would depend on the leader, but I could be wrong there. Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm wondering if other game companies decide to reevaluate their games moving forward and possibly their business models moving forward to avoid what's happening to Ubisoft. And last up here, we're talking about a couple of indie games that I find interesting. So the first one here is called Keep Driving. It's an atmospheric management RPG about life on the open road. Customize your car, pick up hitchhikers, and drive around. And this one to me actually looks pretty interesting. I mean, I'm a big fan of just the customization piece alone. And it's giving me flashbacks to older Flash games that I played the heck out of. And the second game here is for the Game Boy. So the game is called Lunar. It's up on itch.io. It's 100% free, and it's a shoot 'em up for the Game Boy. They say this game is to celebrate the console's 35th anniversary. 35 years ago for the Game Boy. Who would have thought? Time flies here. Anyways, Lunar is 100% free. It's available now. Keep Driving is on Steam, and you can wishlist it if you want, but there is no release date for it just yet. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Unfortunately, I did not see any wild animals today. I mean, it is cold outside. I'm wondering if they're just hunkering down and trying to stay warm until the day warms up and then they come out. Who the heck knows here, but it's been very quiet. Only a few birds and a few squirrels, and that's it, and nothing on camera. Anyways, we talked about a whole bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.